Hey everyone, what's up? It's episode 3 of the Unofficial S.League podcast, and today we're going to start off by filling you in on what has been happening in the world of local football so far. Days before the new 2017 S-League season started, it was announced that Yo's had pulled out as co-title sponsor of the league after 13 years. And now we have a new co-title sponsor on board, but it seems like nobody knows how to pronounce the name of the sponsor properly. So we're gonna do everyone a favor, and we just went online and tried to find instructional video on how to correctly pronounce the name of the co-title sponsor of the new S-League, and apparently this is how you pronounce it.
현대, 현대, 현대.
Hyundai. I hope I pronounced it correctly. So now the new name or full name of the S-League is the Great Eastern Hyundai S-League and not Hyundai, because everyone in Singapore calls it Hyundai, and that's the wrong way. That's basically the wrong way. So after 2 weeks of matches played, Home United is now at the top of the table, and it seems that their Croatian hitman Stipe Plazibat is scoring goals for fun. It's 6 goals in 2 games. That's an average of a hat-trick in every game. Now, is there anything or anyone in the league that can stop Home United or Stipe? Or will they continue their fine run? Well, fortunately for the rest of the league, Matchweek 3 would see Home United sitting out due to the odd number of teams. So perhaps we can see other teams like Albirex catching up or even surpassing Home United in Matchweek 3. The second week of action in the S-League saw 4 matches being played, 14 goals being scored, 10 yellow cards flashed, and 2 clean sheets in total. While most of the people will be talking about how Stipe has been scoring goals for fun, at the other end of the pitch, there's actually been a stellar display by 2 goalkeepers. In fact, one of them is Iswan Mahmud. If you haven't seen his wondrous save against Hougang United, you have to check it out on our Facebook page. And if you're listening to us on YouTube, I've included a link below for you to actually watch the video of Iswan's fantastic save against Hougang. And the other stellar performance, is coming from Hassan Sani, the Singapore national custodian. Pulled off a series of fantastic saves against DPMM to keep Home United in the game, and eventually Home United beat DPMM in Bandar Sri Begawan, which is a huge result for the Protectors. Allegations coming out from Chua Chu Kang as Warriors striker Jordan Webb claims that he was racially abused by Balestier Khalsa's midfielder Raihan Rahman. Well, it seems that Raihan used the N-word on Jordan during the match between the two in Toa Payoh in Matchweek 1. And this is not the first time that Balestier is in trouble for making racial slurs against other players, because in 2012, when Balestier played Woodlands Wellington, the striker Zulkifli Hashim actually also made a racial slur against Woodlands' defender Fabian Lewis. So this is really terrible. It's really, racism has no place in our local league, and well, we shall see in the coming weeks how it pans out. And if the allegations are indeed true, then probably the league will be slapping a penalty on Raihan, like what they did on Zulkifli when in 2012, Zulkifli was actually banned for 5 games and fined $1,000. Well, Raihan, if you really made if you really said the N-word, not cool, man. And here are your leading top scorer charts after Matchweek 2. In position 1, we have Stipe Plazibat, who has been in blazing hot form recently, leading the charts with 6 goals. And in second position, we actually have 4 players, and 3 of them are Japanese. We have Shoichiro Sakamoto with 2 goals, Tsubasa Sano with 2 goals, both from Albirex Niigata, Singapore FC. Faris Ramli, the only local player that's in second position from Home United with 2 goals as well. And last but not least, we have Hougang United's playmaker Fumiya Kogure. And next we have our roundup on Singapore players who are playing overseas. First up, we have Hafiz Sujat, who is playing in the Thai second division with Big Bang Chula United. Seems like BBCU isn't doing too well right now. BBCU is actually sitting in 9th position out of 18 teams. We understand that Hafiz he has started the last 2 games for BBCU, but well, the team doesn't seem to be doing too well. We hope that they can turn things around, and hopefully things will look better for the team as the season progresses. And next up, we have a lowdown on Haris Harun, who has arrived in Spain. And we understand that the next game that his team, La Hospitalet, will be playing will be against Hercules, and that's happening on the 6th of March, which is tomorrow actually. At the time of recording today, it's actually the 5th of March. We've we do not know if Haris is going to be playing a part in this game. We understand that he sat out the last game because when he arrived, the last game has already concluded. But hopefully, we'll be able to see the Singapore vice captain playing a part in La Hospitalet's game against Hercules, and then maybe we can see what the Spanish media thinks about one of the best players to come out of our generation. And last but not least, Safwan Barudin. Well, seems like his team is doing pretty well in the second division of the Malaysian league. PDRM has been winning quite a number of their games, and the last game was actually a 1-1 draw with JDT2. And that's our roundup for Matchweek 2. And in the next part of our program, we actually move over to our segment on Cafe Football Singapore. As you know, this new cafe was recently opened by football lovers for football lovers. It's not only a cafe, it's also a part of the arena, which has not only football pitches, but also studios for yoga, for dancing, and all kinds of sports activities. And recently we actually met the Ultra Eagles in Cafe Football, and we had the opportunity to speak with the person behind Cafe Football, and this is what he had to say. Today we are on location at Cafe Football Singapore, and I'm here with the owner of the establishment, the arena, and Cafe Football Singapore, Simon. Well, Simon, can you tell us more about your inspiration for starting this cafe?
Well, basically, I think this is something that is lacking in Singapore, a football gathering place. Personally, I've been to places in England, and then I saw how people gather together to watch football, and basically just for the passion of the sport. So, I had this opportunity to lease this place to create a football venue and a clubhouse, as well as the arena fitness element. So what essentially I'm trying to create is a gathering point, not only just for footballers, but my arena fitness that comprises of things like yoga, Muay Thai, Pilates, dance workout like Zumba, boxing, rock wall climbing facility. All these, and of course functional fitness. All these are supporting functions that, for example, I'm here to play football. My kid can be doing his rock wall climbing, and my wife can be doing yoga, Pilates, and then we just gather together at Cafe Football for a meal. It's all about spending time together at a destination. Not sure whether I answered your question, but this is my whole idea of why I've created this concept of the arena.
So I understand that you used to play competitive football, and right now, I think most S.League fans would feel that the league is actually going downhill. Do you have any opinion, or what do you think is the difference between the S.League of the past and the S.League of today?
I still remember during the first year of S.League in 1996, 97, 98, I actually witnessed full capacity crowd, even when I was only a 17-year-old boy, and it was my dream to break into the first team. So it was really it was a far-fetched dream, to just be playing in the first team and stuff. And then, but unfortunately, I do not know what actually happened. Never really followed our local league, unfortunately. But things doesn't seem to be moving in the right direction. I mean, just a very simple observation that I've observed was we used to have people from Iran, Muhammad Kapoor, Ali Riza Mansouri. Ali Riza was playing for Balestier, right? So they appeared in our S.League, went on to play in World Cup, and then we had all the Thai players coming to Singapore to play, but where are they now? They are all playing back in their own country, and look at Thai Premier League. I think they are massive, man. I really think they're massive. It's not because about the money and stuff, but I think the pride of the people playing there is just different. I just feel it's not the same, and even before S.League started, I got to witness the Premier League, the Premier League days, and even the business house, it was packed. It was really packed, and footballers are really footballers, So I really do not know what something should be done and could be done to actually showcase and make it our S.League, our local league better.
So, based on your opinion, what do you think can be done to so-called save the league?
Well, I'm not an expert myself. No, I mean it's a very embarrassing thing. For example, okay, I was just talking to some people. I said, "Hey, can you name me just 5 national players and national team? Okay, or can you name me 2 players that is playing for, say, Hougang United? Okay, nobody can. But when I ask them, can you name me players playing in Manchester United or Liverpool? They can name all the 11 players plus the reserves. So why? One of the things that I was actually thinking is because back then in 1996, English football was only available on weekends. We have a Saturday or a Sunday football show or something. The internet wasn't as good as now. So I think information was limited and people follow our local football, right?
True,
More,
true.
And that was the reason why I buy newspaper, because I want to read local football. But unfortunately now we don't really see local football news being covered. I mean, I have this opportunity to meet some of the current S.League players, and we chatted, and then we also realized maybe it's because of the marketing. I think we do not need to make our players super rich like what EPL is doing, but I think more recognition should be given, to players like that. That's what I feel personally like.
Very good points. Very good points. So maybe let's talk a bit more about Cafe Football Singapore. I see that you have a very interesting menu. So this is for the listeners. If we visit your cafe, what are some of the must-try items on your menu list? Your recommendations.
Okay. Now, of course, Cafe Football, this idea was started by Ryan Case and Gary Neville, as well as the Rousley Group. And I have personally visited Cafe Football many times, in Manchester especially. And it was a wow idea that let's start Cafe Football Singapore. And then a wow idea became a reality. So, to be honest, I'm very humbled by this collaboration, especially with Giggs and Gary. So, now, I mean, of course, we have a brand identity that we need to follow, but at the same time, we also need to make sure our food fits the local taste. Right? So, there are some dishes we actually inherited from Manchester, but most of the dishes are very localized, right? For example, in Manchester, they have this thing called a chicken satay, but to them, chicken satay is like exotic.
Yeah, exactly.
If I tell people, hey, chicken satay, they're like, what's the difference between your satay and another satay at coffee shops?
That's true.
So I actually input our local terms, like I call it the chicken satay, the Rafi Kayu. I mean, it's just for the fun of it, Back then when I was watching the Malaysia Cup, it was just all the Rafi Kayu thing. And then in Manchester, the nacho is called a Mexican wave, but in Singapore, we are famous for our Kallang wave.
Kallang wave, yeah, exactly.
So I just tweak the names around and try to do something like that. But I would say if you ask me which one, well, I can safely say so far, most of the feedback for the food is actually quite encouraging. People are saying it's good, it's nice. Even Singapore Airlines is known to have a very good chicken satay in their business class. My friends and everything, they tried chicken satay. Our Rafi Kayu here, they say, hey bro, this is comparable, which is a very, very nice thing to hear.
It's a good compliment.
It's a good compliment.
Yeah, it is.
So I think if people come, I think the must-try dish, if you come in a group, is to try our teammate platter.
Okay.
Yeah, you have some satay, some prawns, chicken wings and some nachos and everything. So these are sometimes $18. It's very value for money.
Okay. So it doesn't matter if you're a BPL fan or S.League fan, as long as you're a football fan, you have to come here and check this place out. I'm sitting here right now, I'm looking around. Beautiful, so many team jerseys around here. Very conducive for chit-chat sessions. They have great coffee. I just tried their coffee. It was really good. The towers here are, from what I see, very popular as well. So, they are at 48 Woodley Park.
Yeah, we lease the property from PUB, Recreation Club. This place is really created by footballers.
By footballers.
Really for the footballers, you know.
Okay.
So, whether you like to play, you like to watch, or you just like to talk about football, this is where, and that's the reason why I'm here. Every day I'm talking about football. Regardless of who I'm talking to, I'm speaking to, it's always about football. But to be honest, the passion is within. My knowledge is not as good, but it's just the passion for the love of the game.
Okay, thank you very much, Simon. Thank you.
Well, last evening I had the opportunity to witness Geylang International's first home game of the 2017 season at Bedok Stadium. Incidentally, this game was against Balestier Khalsa, who were on the end of a 2-1 defeat last week to Warriors FC. It was a very entertaining game, and this was what I thought of the match. It was a great victory for the Eagles. We saw a 2-0 win, and the first goal was scored by Al-Qasimi Rahman. That was his first ever S.League career goal, and the second goal was scored by Shawal Anwar. Well, it was a very scrappy 2 goals that we saw, especially the second one where, it was parried by Saiful Nizam before Shawal placed the ball into the net. But I think I was really impressed by the defense of Geylang. I think Al-Qasimi was playing a really good game. For me, he was the man of the match. He was popping up everywhere. In the first half, he was playing the role of a wing-back, and in the second half, when close to the end of the first half, Anders Aplin was injured and Anders was playing a centre-back. So Al-Qasimi had to fit into the role of centre back with Noazli Yusof coming in to the left wing back. What more can I say? He played really well, and he even had a goal to show for. And on the other hand, I was really surprised to see Geylang's Costa Rican striker Victor Couto going down with cramps in the 75th minute of the match. Pretty surprised because Couto was playing in Indonesia before this, so I think he should be quite acclimatized to the humid weather over here. And playing in a team of I think what I would think are very fit teammates like Isa Halim, like Al-Qasimi Rahman, and even like Shawar Anwar. I think the high tempo game of Geylang would be quite difficult for players like Couto if he doesn't keep up his fitness levels to match the rest of his teammates. So, I would like to see how Couto would build up on his fitness, and hopefully as the season progresses, right, he can actually get fitter and not get into cramps so easily, so that he can help out the rest of the team. But granted, he actually provided assists for both goals. Of course, the second one, he actually fluffed the shot before Shawar Anwar put it into the back of the net. But on the other hand, I was really impressed with the youngster from Myanmar, Min Thi Ha, who started his game for Geylang, and the number 34 was really lively down flanks actually, and managed a couple of shots. Unfortunately, skied one of his efforts over the bar, but for his first game, I think he played really well. And even after the game, the Balestier Myanmar fans were crowding around him, and I saw a couple of them asking him for an interview, and also a couple of them asking him for his signature. Well, I think the Burmese youngster is very promising, and he would be an exciting prospect for Geylang in the years to come. On Balestier's side, lots of hard running by the young boys, plenty of efforts on goal, but unfortunately at the end of the night, nothing to show for. You could see that they were trying to play a very direct approach. All the balls were going straight through the middle, mostly through Rahan Rahmat, and also played through their playmaker Zaya Win. Unfortunately, after a while, it becomes very predictable, with most balls being threaded through Zaya. So after a while, Geylang predicted the style of play coming from Balestier and managed to cut off many of the passes coming from the middle. I think Balestier are going to be in a whole lot of trouble if they're going to, stick to this style of play, especially against faster and stronger opponents. So I think probably Coach Marco has to go back to the drawing board and see, what kind of tactics he's going to employ in the next match. Especially coming against Tampines, I think it's going to be a really tough game. If he's going to be continuing this kind of tactics against Tampines, probably we're going to expect the same kind of result where, Balestier is going to be on the losing side again. Okay, so for the very last part of our podcast this week, we're gonna end it with our regular segment called Part-Time Pundits, and this week, it's still me, Aaron here, and my mystery pundit. Well, I'm just gonna share with you what I think would be the results of Matchweek 3, and hopefully we have the same kind of feeling for the results. All right. So for the first match that's coming up in match week 3, we have Albirex Niigata playing against Brunei DPMM. This will be taking place at Jurong East Stadium. I'm gonna think that, looking at the way Albirex are playing right now, I think it's gonna be a victory for the White Swans. Scoreline for this match probably 2-1 for Albirex. Looking at the firepower that Brunei has, they're at least good for one goal. So 2-1 for Albirex against Brunei DPMM. For the second game, it's Warriors against Geylang International. Now this is going to be a tough one to predict because both Warriors are in pretty good form, I would think, because fresh from a victory against Balestier. And for Geylang, a very morale boosting win for them in Bedok Stadium in match week 2 against Balestier as well. Okay, so both teams have just beaten Balestier, and here they are head to head meeting up with each other. I think for this match, probably we're gonna see a Warriors victory against Geylang. Scoreline is gonna be really tight because looking at the defenses on both sides, with Warriors having stalwarts like Baihaki and Shakir Sulaiman, and Geylang having fast defenders like Al Qasimi and Farid Abdul Hamid, I think Warriors are probably going to come away with just a 1-goal victory. I'm going to predict 1-0 to Warriors. Now the next game is going to be Hougang United against Young Lions. This is taking place at the fortress of Hougang Stadium. It's really hard to see Young Lions coming away with a victory, especially after they've been trashed in the past 2 weeks, and they have conceded a total of 11 goals. While Hougang, I think, they will feel hard done by the last game against Tampines where they lost 2-1. So I'm gonna say that it's gonna be a loss for Young Lions, but I don't think Hougang would score too many goals against the Young Lions. So I'm gonna say 3-0 to Hougang. And probably this time round, if Iqbal Hussein manages to start the game, I think he's good for at least a goal or two. So 3-0 to Hougang United against Young Lions. And for the last game of match week 3, we will see Balestier Khalsa against Tampines Rovers. Balestier will be playing at home at Toa Payoh, but I don't think that's gonna be of any help to Balestier. Tampines have lost the first game against Albirex. In the second game, they beat Hougang United, and in that very same game against Hougang, we saw how prolific Khairul Amri can be, a real fox in the box. I think for Khairul, again, he's like a talisman for Tampines, and I think if he starts the game, again, he's like good for a goal or two. Really hard to see Balestier winning this game, but I would like to see them, getting on the score sheet more, because the only goal they've scored so far was a penalty scored by Rahan Rahman in the first game. So I'm gonna say that Balestier is gonna score at least 1 goal, but Tampines is gonna prove to be too strong. So I'm gonna say Tampines is gonna score 3 goals, and Balestier is only gonna be scoring 1. So a Tampines victory. And that's all I have for my segment on match victory of Part-Time Pundits. And I think that's all the time we have for episode 3 of our podcast. And this is the part where I have to say goodbye to all of you. But before I go, I also have to tell you that in the following podcast, I actually have 2 very special guests hailing all the way from Bishan. Stay tuned to our Facebook page, and soon everything will be revealed who my next guest would be. I think, yep, that's all I have for you Until the next time, this is Aaron signing off from the Unofficial S.League podcast. Thank you and take care.